Today, we're going to dive into the brilliant, no-nonsense wisdom of Charlie Munger. Why? Because we're going to uncover the 5 hidden spending habits that are quietly, maybe even silently, sabotaging our financial futures. All right, let's get into it. You know, this single idea, it's the core of everything Munger believed. He was convinced that building real wealth isn't about these genius-level stock picks or some secret formula. Nope, it's a long-term game. And the way you win is by consistently sidestepping the common, kind of dumb mistakes that trip almost everyone else up. And here's the thing about those foolish mistakes, they rarely feel like a big deal in the moment. Financial ruin, it doesn't usually show up like some big lightning strike. For most of us, it's more like a slow leak, a death by 1,000 cuts from what look like totally harmless daily habits. It's not the big, obvious stuff that gets you, it's the hidden traps. But the good news is, Munger basically gave us a map to get through this minefield. He watched people fall into the exact same traps decade after decade. So by walking through his map, we can learn to spot these things long before we ever step in them. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the absolute bedrock principle of building wealth. Then we'll get into the social pressures that throw us off course, the lifestyle habits that drain our wallets, and finally, the 2 big ones, the hurdles that can totally seal our financial fate. All right, let's start with Munger's core philosophy. You know, in a world that's obsessed with super complex financial strategies, his path to wealth is, well, it's refreshingly simple. It really isn't about what you do, it's all about what you choose not to do. The truth is, it's simple. And you know what? It's probably a little boring. Munger's point was that real wealth comes from the quiet, unsexy discipline of just saving, over and over again, all while everyone else is out there chasing the thrill of spending. You simply cannot spend your way to financial freedom. You have to save your way there, period. So, now let's dig into the first category of traps Munger identified. And these are arguably the most powerful ones because they're wired right into our social DNA, that deep-seated desire to keep up and, let's be honest, look good. First on the list is status spending. Munger basically saw this as a financial disease. The second you start buying things just to signal how successful you are to other people, you've just handed them the keys to your financial future. You're not in control anymore. Their opinion is. This old saying was one of Munger's favorites because it just nails the concept. Big hat, no cattle. It describes somebody who looks super impressive on the surface, but underneath, there's no real substance, no assets to back it up. It's all a show, and the price of admission is your financial future. And this leads us right into the second social trap, envy. Munger singled this one out because he found it uniquely destructive. Why? Because unlike pretty much any other vice, it gives you absolutely zero pleasure. Nothing. It is just pure, self-inflicted misery that makes you make terrible financial decisions. He broke it down like this. Other sins, they at least have a little sugarcoating, a brief moment of fun or enjoyment. But envy? It's just poison from the get-go. There's no fun. You just sit there, stewing and rotting from the inside while someone else is out enjoying their life. And hey, this isn't some new problem. Munger saw these exact same patterns play out his entire life. During the Great Depression, people were borrowing money for a new radio. In the 70s, it was a fancy car. Today, it might be a giant house for a tiny family. The technology changes, but that self-defeating envy, it stays exactly the same. Okay, let's move on to the next set of traps. Now, these aren't about trying to impress other people. Nope, these are all about satisfying our own modern cravings for ease, for comfort, and for constant stimulation. Munger warned that paying for convenience is like having a tiny, slow leak in the hull of a giant ship. Each little drop seems completely insignificant. A food delivery here, a rideshare there. But over time, those little drops will absolutely sink you. And when you actually sit down and run the numbers, the true cost of this laziness, as Munger put it, is just staggering. That daily $15 food order isn't just $15. It's over $54,000 of capital that could have been working for you over a decade. He basically argued that convenience literally eats people's futures for lunch. The second lifestyle trap is what Munger called voluntary poverty. And this happens when we start confusing entertainment with an actual necessity. We spend like life is just one long weekend, basically renting happiness on a credit card and leaving nothing behind to build a life of real freedom. And this is what that budget looks like. I mean, look at it. When mindless fun and status items are eating up most of your money, there's barely anything left for what actually matters: your savings. Every single dollar you waste on some fleeting thrill is a dollar that can't be out there compounding for your future. Munger warned the entertainment industry is designed to separate you from your money, and it's a game you are guaranteed to lose. All right, our final section. This covers two traps that often work together like a 1-2 punch to deliver the knockout blow to your financial stability. Just take a second and honestly try to answer this question for yourself. It really gets to the heart of the ignorance trap. Munger saw so many smart people, doctors, lawyers, you name it, pouring money into things they couldn't explain simply. Could be complex stocks, could be fancy cars with all kinds of hidden fees. Munger's cure for this is simple, but it's definitely not easy. See, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about having the discipline and the humility to do the work. And if you do all that work and you still don't get it, the smartest move you can possibly make is to just walk away. The money you don't lose is always way more valuable than some hot tip you might miss out on. And that brings us to debt, which Munger described with this incredibly powerful metaphor. It's financial quicksand. It's a perfect image, isn't it? You step in thinking, oh, I can handle this. But every move you make to try and get ahead just pulls you deeper and deeper until you're completely buried. Munger was incredibly blunt about this. He saw debt as the most effective poverty machine ever invented. It literally turns your future potential into present-day misery. It robs you of your freedom and makes you a prisoner to your lenders. It is, for sure, the ultimate dead end. So when you boil it all down, Munger's wisdom presents us with a really clear choice between two paths. There's the exciting path, right? It's filled with status, envy, and debt-fueled convenience. It looks great from the outside, but it leads to stress and ruin. And then there's the boring path. It's paved with discipline and patience. It is not glamorous at all, but it is the only one that actually leads to true freedom. And this is the final, powerful question that Munger's wisdom really forces us to ask ourselves. Is your spending a tool to build a real life, a life of independence? Or is it just a costume you're wearing for a performance? The answer to that question? Well, the answer determines everything.